Hello and welcome to Green Healing, where we discuss alternative and natural healing from abuse and CPTSD. Today I want to discuss triggers and emotional flashbacks, something I experience every day, something we all experience probably daily, but can overcome. Triggers and emotional flashbacks go hand in hand when it comes to trauma-based symptoms. If there is no trigger, there is no flashback. I used to have 5 a day. Yay! Now it's more like 5 a month. The goal is to regain control so that triggers stop setting us off, stop emotional flashbacks, and emotional flashbacks have less effects on us, and we can feel better and more functional, because let's face it, a trigger in an emotional flashback is very debilitating. The trigger sets off the flashback. A trigger can be a sound, a smell, a word, a phrase, a tone, in particular, tone of voice, the way something is said, a situation can also be triggering, something we see can also trigger us. It can be a series of things, such as events, even the weather and specific conditions can trigger a flashback. The first step in controlling, stopping, managing, working through, or reframing a flashback is to recognize our triggers. When we know what triggers us, then we know we'll have a flashback. We're not always aware that we are in a flashback. That awareness works to bring us back to the present moment, out of the flashback, as opposed to us being within the flashback in the past. Most emotional flashbacks, however, don't have visual or auditory triggers. It's more situational, sensory, like a covert trigger. A flashback is when you are propelled back into a traumatic situation as though it were happening to you right now, and the reflex is to react how we wish we had reacted back then, with sometimes overcompensation, which is something I tend to do in an emotional flashback, overcompensate. So a loving parent could be speaking to you, for example, and they say something similarly to how your abuser might have said it, totally not meaning the same thing, and you go off on one, thinking that they're trying to manipulate you. The reality is, most of the time, we are not in the danger we think we are in. And it's important to reassure ourselves of that. To reassure ourselves that we're okay. Our reflex is to freeze, fight, or flee. If you used to flee or fawn a lot, you'll fight more in a flashback. We all have one we typically tend to go to. For me, it's freeze. And so when I want to fight the freeze, I overcompensate and overcompensate fight. And when I do reflexively fight, I overcompensate that too. To give you an example, a flashback I tend to get is when I sort of start to do something and then someone asks me to do it. Well, I was already on my way to do it. Give me a chance, like it triggers me. This is because the abuser would do it on purpose when he knew I was about to do something to pointedly order me to do it. And then he would use the fact that he had to tell me to do it to justify further abuse. And so my argument of, well, I was going to do it anyway, didn't work because there was no way for him to know for sure. And so in the future, I owed him if he didn't punish me for telling me to do said thing that I was going to do anyway. So for example, I'm on my way to the sink, start preparing the cloth. Yeah, why don't you wipe the table? And the person is suggesting, since I'm there rinsing the cloth anyway, maybe in their mind they're confirming my own thoughts. Yes, it's time to wipe the table. But I'm like, give me a chance. I was about to do it. Don't go there before me. Like, it it blocks me. I get frustrated because I know I'm in an emotional flashback as opposed to not being completely aware. I'm fully aware of what's going on around me and inside of me when this happens. Back then, I was powerless. And the deception of the flashback is that if I fight whoever triggered me, I gain power. But that's not reality. That's not true. I don't have to fight the person who triggered me because I fight now when I'm safe. It doesn't make sense, even if it doesn't feel like I'm safe. If I fight when I'm safe, then the flashback is controlling me. So regaining composure is to regain power. And for that, self-reassurance, tapping, for me tapping, and reframing the situation, listing what happened, out loud while recognizing the person's actual intention, their true intent is key for me personally, and it's something that you can try as well. There are minor flashbacks I can stop today, and other more major ones that sometimes I'm not even aware that I'm in the flashback until I'm, freezing or fighting the freeze, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is a flashback, but I already feel like so enraged. I need to go walking off. I need to scream or something. I need to deal with it because I just feel so unwell because I'm lost in the midst of a flashback. Healing is a process, obviously, and gaining control from emotional flashbacks is a challenge. For me, the EFT tapping therapy works wonders and has helped a lot for that. So obviously I'm going to talk a lot about it. I'm going to suggest it, but there are other types of therapy as well that might help with that. I know that Richard Grannon speaks of the emotional literacy course, and he has videos explaining the process of emotional literacy as well, and other life coaches and therapists share online how they help their clients heal from the trauma from emotional flashbacks. So that's definitely a lot of things that everyone can explore to find what works best for you. Melanie Tanya Evans, as another example, has the quantum tools and understandings for that. And obviously there's the Mind Calm, Mind Detox meditation therapy. So I'll put links below for some of these various methods that I know of, and feel free to put in the comments below links to other methods and other people with other healing good methods of dealing with emotional flashbacks, because sometimes, some days, the EFT is not enough and I have to do the emotional literacy as well. So it's a combination sometimes, and whatever works best to help, that's the goal. That's the goal. Flashbacks used to render me unable to function for hours at a time. Now I tell myself, I want to at least feel neutral about this. I want to continue to function. It's not always instant. It requires patience and practice. But the more I do it, the more I am in control of my own emotions. The more I know I'm in a trigger when I'm in a trigger, the more I know I've been triggered. And we know that knowledge is key to moving away from the chaos of trauma and abuse. Take heart and don't put yourself down if you're still struggling with this. It took me years. I know some people it only took them months, and I was like, how did it only take you months? It took me years to get to where I am today. So everyone's healing journey is exactly that. It's a journey, and not everyone heals at the same rate, and not every method works the same way for each person. And even if it takes years, it doesn't mean you're never going to get there. I know from experience, when I find a method that works for me, I stick with it because that really works. It really, really works the best for me. And so maybe some people that they will function like that also, they find one thing and they stick with it. Some people try a few things and they combine a few things. Whatever works best for you, that's the way to go. I want to close this episode of Green Healing with another narration of a Healing Through Humor capsule that I wrote several years ago. Capsule 18, Misinterpretations. Husband, you want to help me with this? Me, it's not my fault. Husband, what is? Me, that I didn't think to help you. Husband, I'm not accusing you. I'm just asking. Me, you said it as though you meant this. Husband, no, well, I didn't mean that at all. Me, well, it's not my fault. Husband, it's okay. Me, it's not my fault. Husband, it's not your fault. Me, is everything okay? Husband, everything's okay. Me, okay. Feel free to share in the comments below your victories, big or small. Perchance it might help someone else achieve emotional freedom as well. And like this video if you like it, if it has helped you, share it with anyone you think it could help. And remember, empower yourself and be emotionally free.